Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Louis B. Free Radio Show, Brain Food from the Heartland. Truly an honor to have Robert Amsterdam, Attorney Robert Amsterdam, back on the show with me. May I be casual and say Bob?
Of course.
Okay. Bob, I'm really grateful that you had time for me today, for us today. A little bit about your background before we get into the update with the horror that's going on in Ukraine.
Well, as you know, Louis, we've been working as a lawyer in this area for 45 years, represented a number of the key political opponents of Vladimir Putin in Russia until my arrest in 2005. I'm now banned from Russia, but have been retained last year by the Holy Synod of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church to defend it against really predatory behavior by the Ukrainian government, headed by President Zelensky, which is attempting to ban the church. And we have just issued a white paper as well as an analysis of the new law. Both of them are available on our website, Save the UOC. And I think the white paper has already been distributed 400,000 times.
Excellent.
And I think people are also starting to download the analysis of the bill. This new analysis demonstrates that the bill before the Ukrainian parliament, or Rada, is in no way law. It is essentially hate speech dressed up as law. And we are deeply concerned that the Rada, which is basically a captive of Zelensky's party, will simply vote for the second time to pass the bill, which will mean that once President Zelensky signs it, the machinery will be in place to destroy the church.
Unbelievable. And again, having read the analysis and of course the white paper, and again, saveuoc.com. You can go there. I've got links up. Go there directly, and everything is available there. Bob Amsterdam, did the development of this? I mean, why? I can't comprehend why this is happening.
Well, essentially, our understanding is that this is happening because President Zelensky's mandate is over at the end of March. And while they have said there will not be an election while the war is on, that could always change. And the ultra-nationalists in Ukraine, who have succeeded in now making Ukraine a unilingual Ukrainian language state, and have been successful also in attacking our church, these ultra-nationalists are the power voting bloc that Zelensky is aiming at. And that, we believe, is the reason for the propagation of this bill.
When I think about it, I want to go back again. I was telling you earlier, I've got so many notes, so many questions I want to ask you. You wrote a letter to President Biden.
Yes.
Will you address that, please?
Well, we wrote a letter to the president as well as to the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and the President of the European Union to say, take a look at this. How can you remain silent when, in fact, as our analysis demonstrates, there is no lawful way to disestablish a church? And the silence of these political leaders is based on a shocking calculus that democracies, because they are antithetical to Putin's Russia, should shut up and not criticize anything Zelensky does. Whether it's destroying a religion, whether it's corruption, whatever is going on, we should simply stay silent because the greater evil is Putin. And, that has never been the modus operandi under which our firm operated. Our firm operates under a deep commitment to rule of law, and that rule of law exists in every country internationally. There are a basic set of minimum standards. And in fact, even in wartime Ukraine, there is no legal basis on which religious rights can be abrogated. So there is no way for the Ukrainians to legislate around this. They have, in fact, violated international law, violated human rights. And, not only are they destroying the church legally with this bill, but the government is suborning an ongoing campaign to shut churches, close them down, turn some of them into discotheques, and they are acting in favor of their church. They have set up a state church, formally set up in January 2019, and that state church engages in this predatory act of theft, which is taking over property, beating priests, occasionally stealing assets, occasionally forcing younger men to be drafted into the army. Terrible things if you want to be an Orthodox Christian in Ukraine and worship in Church Slavonic under the aegis of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church.
When you were talking about how many downloads of your white paper and of course the legal analysis of it, the article in the Telegraph was fantastic. The millions of views of you talking with Tucker Carlson, millions.
Yeah, 55 million people viewed the Tucker Carlson interview.
And it was great with you on Aussie Wire. I'm just wondering, was it that, and forgive me, Robert Amsterdam, was it the Times of London that reached out to you? But
no, well, we spoke into the Times, who wouldn't run a story.
Didn't run the story. I'm sorry to interrupt you. What's the deal? That's the part I just, when I read and I see the pictures of the beaten go ahead. Sorry.
Louis, we found a blanket unwillingness based on the fact that Western media, especially the London Times, believe that their role is not to report the news anymore. Their role is to be the propaganda arm of the West in this fight against Putin. It's a new definition of journalism we're seeing, but it's shocking. It's partially enforced because reporters want to keep their visa rights. It's a lot like what Putin was doing in the early 2000s. Journalists who are accredited to Kyiv don't want to get on the bad side of the administration. This is a hot button topic, so they want to be careful.
Which could lead me into a whole other topic about the news, the so-called news, or the distractions that I see so often, and it's troubling. I understand what you're saying about they want to keep their visas, but it's not. Shouldn't be able to call it news anymore, or journalism, very honestly.
No, it's frightening, and it's very different. I've been a lawyer for 45 years, and this is very different than what I saw even 20 years ago. It's a new reality. I don't know whether it's the influence of social media or the fact that with social media, budgets for newspapers have been cut, but there is a hell of a lot more self-censorship than we saw in the past.
Yes, self-censorship. I mean, at least, I don't know. I shouldn't say. What about op-ed page? What about something elsewhere? Again, great with the millions, the tens of millions of views on Tucker, and great for the Aussie Wire and the Telegraph and others. But to not, and there were years ago, I loved the BBC. I mean, when BBC first came on cable, very honestly, many years ago, I had a shortwave radio. I would listen to the BBC. I'm so disgusted and disappointed with them. I mean, where are these news organizations. I don't get, what is their purpose? I guess just to what?
I mean, we're in the same boat. I am scratching my head.
Yeah, I am. Now, again, the site savetheuoc.com, savetheuoc.com. I am talking with attorney Robert Amsterdam on Louis B. Free Radio Show, Brain Food from the Heartland. What can people do? I get emails. What can we do? What can we do? You can certainly go to the site and take action.
Yes, and go to your congressman, go to your senator, go to your local minister or rabbi, and ask them to say something. The more the government folks in the House or Senate hear from their own constituents that this attack on Jesus Christ bothers them, the better. You know, I go into meetings in Washington and I tell, members of Congress that I represent their most important constituent, Jesus Christ. And in reality, that's the client, because these people I represent simply want to worship. And they're being denied that right in a democratic society, being defamed with these BS allegations in respect to their patriotism, because the opportunists in government want to obtain the votes of the ultra right wing. And you will see it in some of the takeovers of our churches. Some of the big men who are coming in to steal from our people have swastikas embedded in their arms. I mean, these are ultra right wing groups, some of which are attracted to this idea of violent takeovers of churches. So again, we tell people, go to this Save the UOC site. You'll also see the tragic video of a Ukrainian soldier who's on the front lines asking why men his age are stealing churches and beating up priests rather than joining him on the front lines. So big things are happening in Ukraine. The rumor mill there is rife that next week, General Zelensky, the popular hero of Kyiv, is going to be moved away from his position. So there's a lot going on domestically, but that doesn't help us, because we need people to focus on the situation of the church. We need people to tell their members in the House or Senate to please call Ukraine and tell them to stop persecuting the church.
And again, you've got that information at savetheuoc.com. You can subscribe to get information.
And we also, as you know, Louis, we have a podcast called Departures with Robert Amsterdam, where we have a number of interviews with me and I think a number of others in terms of background to the entire dispute. So, whether it's in Departures or whether it's on the Amsterdam and Partners website, or whether it's in the Save the UOC website, your listeners can certainly access the information, which includes a lengthy white paper as well as a lengthy analysis of Bill 8371.
Yeah, the legal analysis. You can get that also in the white paper. It's just, again, it's horrifying, absolutely horrifying. And when you look at the media, I keep coming back to that. That's the part I just don't understand. I don't understand that people don't understand the ramifications for this. The European Union, et cetera, the world is always. I've mentioned this to you before, that pastor. I always have the poster in the studio with me, Pastor Niemöller. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to stand up for me, which isn't a reason, by the way, to not stand up for someone else, but people should be outraged, whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever.
Absolutely, and that's why we're on your show again, and we're very grateful that you've given us this time.
Oh, I'm grateful to you. And again, you have the sample letter, by the way, for members of Congress at savetheufc.com. And I would urge everyone to send this, to educate yourself. Go to the site first. If you're not aware of it, if you haven't heard Robert on the show, if you haven't heard me ranting about it, educate yourself about this by going to savetheufc.com. So tell us a little bit more about what's coming in the next week.
Well, we believe the rumor mill is overheating in Ukraine, that major changes could occur. There may be a change of prime minister. There may be a movement of the leading general of the country out of his position. Big changes. So we will see. Again, none of this affects, sadly, the church, but we will see what happens next week.
Well, and we're going to be watching to see about that. Again, the issues that you talk about and the pictures that are posted on Save the UFC, on your Twitter feeds, etc., of priests bloodied priests, bloodied priests.
No, broken jaws, broken. People are being beaten, and again, captured on video.
Yeah.
So it's all there. It's all there for people to see.
All there for people to see, and people need to. We all need to get involved. And I'm going to say, get in touch with media sources if you have any. Send the letter.
Any movement at all, we would appreciate. And again, Louis, thank you so much for taking the time.
My honor, always. Attorney Robert Amsterdam. Again, go to the website, savetheufc.com. We'll have the podcast up just shortly after we sign off, and also the YouTube video, etc. I'm honored to know you, and I'm grateful for your time. Most importantly, grateful to who you are in and for our world. You amaze me.
Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank
Thanks
you
so much.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to